Today is Wednesday, January 4th, 2017. And today I've come across yet another video of some of these B-lists. Some of y'all called them Z-lists in the last video. Y'all were hilarious in the comment section. I see y'all, but I digress. Some of these, halfway irrelevant, halfway unrecognizable actors, yet again trying to influence American politics. And it's kind of strange because these things kind of come off like they're threatening you. It's like, do as we say or else. Like they got some kind of surprise for you if you don't acquiesce to their demands. Now, this comes from a group or a pack. I'm not really sure what this is, but the group is called Humanity for Progress. I saw a little bit of this video before I'm recording this right now, and I kind of skimmed through it. At the end, I saw this logo, and I guess the logo is supposed to like represent a bunch of different people, people that are disabled or differently abled, blacks, whites. And it's kind of weird the way they got the thing. This logo with all these different kind of stereotypes about physical appearance. That's what I always say about the left. They don't want diversity of thought, as we're going to see in this video here. But they're all champions of diversity of physical appearance. As long as you look different, it's all good. But once you think differently, have a different kind of ideology, want to kind of step off the reservation and go a little bit, go your own way, so to speak, then all of a sudden you're the enemy. Now they want to, give you veiled threats like what happened in this video here. So what we're going to do, we're going to jump straight into it. These actors, I recognize some of them just from skimming through it right quick. I think I saw Sally Field. I'm not really sure what she's been in lately, so maybe she needs some money. I don't know if they got paid or not, but I'm just throwing stuff out there. And I recognize some of the other people, but most of them I don't know. Luckily, this time in this video link that I was able to receive, they had a list of the people that were in there. Maybe they saw my video before. I was like, I don't recognize them. So maybe they thought, hey, we're going to put their names in the box. So maybe that can help, but it's not. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight into it, shall we?
Dear members of Congress.
Dear members of Congress.
Dear members of Congress.
Dear members of Congress.
I'm mad.
Shout out to Rosie Perez. She was hot like fire back in the Living Color days. And I saw a few of her movies back in the day. Very hot young lady, but now I'm not really sure what she got going on. I mean, I see her on Twitter tweeting about boxing and stuff like that, but that's about all I see from her. So maybe she needs some exposure right now. I don't really know. But, this whole thing, oh, I'm mad. You're smiling. Are you really mad? Like, what's going on? Either you're not really mad or you're psychotic. Nobody says I'm mad with a crazy smile on their face. But let's keep going.
Flabbergasted.
Furious.
Concerned for my children.
I'm worried for everyone.
Well, what are you worried about, sirs?
The majority of Americans, regardless of who they voted for,
did not vote for racism,
for sexism, or for xenophobia.
And yet Donald Trump won.
So I guess that was kind of a shot at the Electoral College, meaning, the majority of Americans did not vote for, sexism, racism, all the isms, all this stuff. You just assume that Donald Trump is the things you say. That's kind of what it is. You're saying it without saying it. You're saying that he's a xenophobe or homophobe, racist, or whatever else you want to call him. And you just don't really have any evidence with it. You just want to make that assertion. And then you also want to say that people that are not in the majority are the ones that, voted for racism, sexism, etc. So basically, this is kind of like the whole Hillary Clinton, half of all Trump supporters are deplorables, but you guys taking it to the next level. You guys are pretty much saying all Trump supporters are deplorables. How are you going to try to get your point across when you insult, millions of people across the nation? 60 million plus people voted for Donald Trump. So how are you just going to insult all them like their opinion does not matter? But we'll talk about that a little bit later.
And since he won,
hate crimes are rising.
Women have been attacked in his name.
People of color attacked in his name.
Oh, is that so? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that nobody's been attacked because they are so-called liberal. I mean, I'm sure you could find a couple cases to prove your point, sure. But let's not act like that is something that is, a one-way street here. Let's not act like it's a one-way street, and let's not act like it does not happen much more the other way around. Anytime I see a video of somebody being beaten to a bloody pulp, being carried out on a stretcher, it doesn't matter if they're male, female, young, old, homeless, rich. It doesn't matter who they are, what they are. If you're a Trump supporter, wrong place, wrong time. I mean, that could cost you your life almost. I think one guy got shot, a black male, older black male got shot at a bar for being a Trump supporter. You know what I'm saying? I saw a homeless old woman get beat up and accosted by a group of people of all different so-called walks of life, people of color, etc., that you claim to champion. But you don't want to talk about that. You want to talk about the occasional incident where you might be able to link somebody that is a so-called Trump supporter abusing somebody else, like the situation where the old man, probably like 80 years old, punched the 21-year-old black male in the face. And do you know that they have buried the hatchet and they're all good now? They want to kind of be buddy-buddy. But you don't want to talk about that. You just want to use things like that to promote your own narrative, to make it seem like people that support Trump are just violent heathens, when really a case can be made the other way around, and much more so.
You represent us in Congress.
You are our last line of defense.
So here's what we ask of our elected officials.
No, here's what we demand.
Oh, a demand. See, here's the demands. I mean, do you guys have hostages? Hopefully the guy in my last video with his eyes real bucked out like that, hopefully he's not still being held captive. Like I said before, if you're being held captive, next time you get on camera, blink your eyes a few times, we'll come to get you. But let's keep going.
To the extent that Trump pursues racist,
sexist, anti-immigrant,
Anti-worker, anti-Muslim, anti-Semitic, anti-environmental policy.
What has Trump done that so-called anti-Muslim, anti-Semitic? I don't get it. His daughter is Jewish. I mean, by conversion, of course, and she's married to an actual like ethnic Jew. So how can you say that he is anti-Semitic? What has he done that's anti-Semitic? Really, he's more on the side of Israel than I would care for him to be. I disagree with his stance on Israel. He's like almost like an Israel firster. So how you going to call him, out of all people, anti-Semitic? That doesn't make any sense. How you going to call him anti-Muslim? You know, he just wants to protect our country away from radical extremism, just like Muslims that are not radical extremists want to be protected from. That's very simple. You're throwing out a lot of allegations here that kind of just are used to smear Trump and people that voted for him. So I'm personally offended at what you say. I would like for you to be able to prove your stance rather than just making blind allegations.
we demand that you vigorously oppose him.
We demand that you block nominees who threaten the rights of women,
the LGBT community,
people of color, immigrants, and the poor.
I'm offended at the term people of color because really all it is colored people backwards with an of in the middle. It's a bourgeoisie way of saying colored people. That's all that it is. You know, a lot of these liberals, you know, they claim that, the Democrat Party and the Republican Party switched. No, they didn't. All they did was just improve their marketing strategy. And it was always a marketing strategy from the beginning during slavery and everything else. People thought that slavery was this thing that was all about hurt, pain, this, that, and the third. Nah, it was kept as an institution by people that were very well spoken. People just like these celebrities here on this tape. People that are very well spoken, people that were able to articulate their views in a way to made it seem like what they said was the gospel, and other ways of thinking were just nonsensical. That's how slavery, that's how so-called oppression was kept into effect. These individuals, when the average person who does not really understand politics, when they hear them speak, they hear them like, it's almost like Jim Jones. Charismatic, smooth talking, very well spoken, but what they're selling you is pure poison.
And we want you to know that we are with you.
As long as you do that stuff, we won't remain silent.
We won't remain silent.
We won't remain silent.
We'll work harder to mobilize our votes
and our communities.
You're giving these veiled threats. What are you going to do if they do not acquiesce to your demands? What will be the consequence of that action? I'd like to know. Please tell me in the comments below if one of you B-listers are watching. I know you ain't doing nothing. I know you're at the crib eating bonbons and whatnot in Los Angeles, you know, trying to keep yourself from starving to death. I know you ain't doing anything. So let me know in the comments below. What are you going to do if your demands are not met?
But we need you.
And we expect you to have our backs.
To protect our civil liberties
And to use your congressional powers
to obstruct,
Obstruct, defeat,
anything.
Anything
that violates our core values as diverse Americans.
You say our core values as diverse Americans. So you kind of telling yourself right there, because what that means is we all have diverse physical appearances, but our thought process is all the same. Right? Because if it's all about diversity, you know, in a true way, meaning people are different, you know, I have an opinion and I look a certain way. You know, I'm diverse because of who I am as an individual. I'm different than you are, not just in my physical appearance. However, if it's all about physical appearance and not about your thought process, then saying we have core values as diverse Americans makes perfect sense, because there will be no diversity of thought. It's only going to be diversity of physical appearance. That's why he says stuff like that. But I want to know what those values are. Do you believe in life? Do you believe in the ability to be able to make money and keep it? I mean, I don't think you do. So what kind of values do you have, really?
Signed, the majority.
The majority.
The majority.
The majority.
The majority.
The majority
of the American people.
That is hilarious. You want to talk about the majority. Now, all of a sudden, the people that were the champions of the minority call themselves minority. Now, all of a sudden, you want to be the champion of the majority. That is, that is rich. How you going to sit there and just redefine things as it suits you? You know, because if it was not about trying to champion for the majority, you would have called yourself a minority, you know, rather than using this word diverse American. You know, that's something new. I never heard that before. I mean, I've heard African American, Hispanic American, et cetera, et cetera. Now, all of a sudden, we got diverse American, which only means, like I said earlier, which only means someone that has a different appearance than a standard white male, but at the same time has a different viewpoint than a standard white male that is all the same as the next person that looks the same way or looks differently like they do. I don't even understand how these celebrities think that they're going to be able to be successful at what they're trying to accomplish here. Because really, these things kind of come off like veiled threats, and they're kind of like, it's almost like shouting in the forest when nobody's around to hear it. Did you even say anything? Who cares? I mean, I found this video on Vimeo. Like, they're not even really trying to get it out. Like, I wonder if this so-called group, this PAC or whatever it is, I wonder if they actually got paid for this, if it was some kind of government loan that they had to spend. I'm not really sure what it is, but it just seems kind of strange that these people are going to come out here and fight for the rights of the majority when they're supposed to be, you know, the champions of the little guy, the minority. That's weird. And then the thing about it, if it would have gone the other way, if the minority of people would have voted for Hillary and she would have won the Electoral College, there would be no, you know, little veiled threats against the Electoral College and trying to persuade the electors and stuff like that. It would be no assault on the system because people would think that it worked the way they wanted them to work. It'd be business as usual. And it's really, you know, hypocritical of people to behave that way. But I'm not surprised. This is how liberals behave. This ain't nothing new. I'm not surprised. I saw the same thing on the MTV the MTV News, whatever that was, without Miss Francesca Ramsey. You know, that video there was kind of the same thing as this. People of different colors and sizes, whatever, that all think the same way. And they all just kind of want to manipulate words and look at things in a way that will help them rather than looking at things the way they are and being honest. You know, I'm an honest individual. I call it how I see it. And that should be the way that every individual is, rather than trying to get people to just fall up under one umbrella of thought because they look a certain way. To me, that's whack. But that's pretty much all I got to say about this video. You know, it kind of crossed my radar. I kind of just want to do a video on it to give a counter narrative because they're going to keep trying to do this stuff. And I want to give a counter narrative whenever they do it to fight it. You know, and I think that many people have seen videos like this and they go on their pages and thumb it down. That's great as well. But I want to give a visual to anybody that's out there that thinks that this is the way that so-called diverse Americans and people of color think. No. It's people out there that think that way, but they do not represent me. They represent themselves and whoever just wants to follow them. They're sycophants. I'm not one of them. I'm an independent thinker. And that's pretty much what it is. There's a lot of guys like me out there. And shout out to all of y'all. You know, people from, I don't care where you come from. If you black, white, Puerto Rican, candy stripe, it doesn't matter how you look. I only care about what you think. I don't care how you look. That's not important to me, but it is important to them. So what do you think? Do you think that this video here will just be another in the long line of celebrity attempts to try and persuade people that are in power, people that are elected to behave how they want them to behave? You know, I think at the end of the day, as I close, I think at the end of the day, these people that are in power, people in Congress, etc., they have people that are their actual constituents that voted them in. That's who they got to serve, not these celebrities, many of whom don't even live anywhere near where people voted for Trump are at. Right. They don't live anywhere near the places that will be affected positively by the Trump administration. Right. And a lot of them are pretty much like in the wall garden themselves. Whatever happens in Washington, D.C. won't really affect them that much. Maybe it will, though, if they have any money, which I doubt. But if they do, maybe they get a tax break. So they should just be looking out for that rather than trying to stick their noses in a place where it does not belong. But do you think that these videos are important as far as what the celebrities are doing? Like they have a voice and it needs to be heard. Do you disagree with what I said? Now, if you disagree, like I always say in most of my videos, if you disagree, give me a detailed explanation as to why in the comments below. I love to hear it. I'm not a one-sided person. Give me your point of view. So whatever your comments are, let me know in the comments below. That's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.